Oh, kaya mo cuma tahu kami nga nito ma'am. Wow, sanay lang nga nito ma'am. Nimbula, ayaw Mr. Ben.
Ella ba?
Na magikiro manolo kinedyo na bima taka monisi kina rumbuka.
Nambula FM, namadua na siling.
How would you like to spend your morning? You could spend your morning like this. Or you could spend it like this.
Tune in to the Morning Ride every weekday morning from 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. right here on Today FM, Today's Hit Music.
Tonight on FBC News, we're doing fine without the Pacific Islands Forum, says Fijian Prime Minister. Tapu Group of Companies takes over 16 mobile-owned service stations. And kava ban for all Methodist church members. Good evening, I'm Amrita Priyadarshini and you're with FBC News. Fiji is doing just fine without the Pacific Islands Forum. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama made the statement on New Zealand's Radio Tarana, saying the PIF is, quote, the plaything of the Aussies and the Kiwis. Ritika Pratap reports.
Fiji was suspended by the Pacific Islands Forum after the events of 2006. Following the release of the 2013 constitution by the Fijian government, a PIF meeting in Majuro concluded that Fiji will be readmitted into the forum after free and fair elections. It now seems this stance has backfired, with Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama saying he isn't interested in rejoining a group that, according to him, is largely influenced by Australia and New Zealand.
So we're doing just fine without the PIF. In fact, we're not interested in going back until it stops being the plaything of the Aussies and the Kiwis. When it becomes a genuine expression of the will of the Pacific Islanders themselves, then we'll go back. Then we'll think about rejoining the forum.
The Prime Minister goes on to say that the establishment of the Pacific Islands Development Forum signifies the progress Fiji has made since the suspension.
We've got our own vehicle for engaging with our neighbors now, the Pacific Islands Development Forum, and we brought in people who were excluded from the PIF, the community-based organizations, the civil society groups, and it's given them a voice for the first time. So
Bainimarama adds Fiji has achieved a lot more out of the PIF than when it was a member.
we've also gone beyond the region to chair the G77, the biggest voting bloc at the United Nations. We're leading the Pacific Small Island Developing States at the UN. We're leading players in the MSG. We've joined the non-aligned movement. So it's really no big deal with the forum.
Fiji's received numerous commendations since the release of its constitution 2 weeks ago. And the response from the Prime Minister has been the same, saying its government has proven itself. But the hard-handed actions from those that turned their backs on Fiji will not be forgotten. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
Tapu Group of Companies will now oversee the operations of 16 mobile-owned service stations in Fiji. Responding to questions sent by FBC News, Mobil Oil Fiji this afternoon confirmed that an arrangement has now been finalized between the two companies. Mobil Country Manager Eugen Lim says Tapu has a strong history of retailing and customer service in Fiji, and they are pleased to welcome them to the Mobil team. He says Mobil is committed to ensuring a smooth transition to the new arrangements. 16 Mobil sites will be temporarily closed on Monday to implement the change of operator. Sites will progressively reopen over a 4-day period, with all sites expected to be up and running under new management by September 19th. 9 other Mobil sites are not impacted by the change in operator and will continue operating as usual. All Methodist church members in Fiji have been banned from consuming kava on Sundays, and not just church ministers. This was confirmed by Church President Reverend Tuikilakila Wangairatu, who, as Apisolomedokar tells us, is empowered by the church constitution to implement such directives.
All confirmed Methodist Church members have been banned from smoking and excessive consumption of yangona.
All confirmed members of the church and all ministers are now banned from smoking and excessive consumption of yangona. The directive is not only for church ministers, because when you are a confirmed member of the church, you belong to God. We all must have 3 bowls.
The church is aware of some ministers who are telling members that the church president does not have the powers to implement such directives.
Section 60, Part 5 of the Methodist Church Constitution states that the president has the power to implement directives that are not in the church constitution or decided during the Mbosekoviti and brought to the standing committee to approve it.
Reverend Tuikilakila says the directive he has implemented is a calling from the Almighty, as he has seen a lot of weaknesses in the implementation of the church's teachings.
Any church minister that will breach this directive will be disciplined. I will see that all church ministers follow this directive. It just shows how we worship the God that we believe.
Reverend Tuikilakila says these directives will be included in the church constitution once the review is complete. Api Salome Doka, FBC News.
The adverse effects of past year's natural disasters have prompted authorities to be more prepared as Fiji enters the cyclone season. While advisories have always been targeted at the public to prepare themselves well, Ritika Pratap reports it's the Weather Office who is now revamping its services in time for the next cyclone season.
The Meteorology Office has begun upgrading its instruments as well as its communication system between Nadi and Suva and outside of Fiji.
When I talk communication, I'm talking about fiber optics. They'll enable much more bandwidth for the transmission of our products from Nadi to Fiji and to the other parts of the world.
Alipate Wangaidelwa says they are also upgrading radars around the country.
Doppler ones are Suva in Nosori as well as in Nadi. We had hoped to get Lambasa upgraded to Doppler next year, but as of now, Lambasa radar is off the air because the engineers and technicians from Australia, as well as ours, are working on upgrading or maintaining the radar in preparation for the hurricane season.
Will it be ready by November?
Yes.
Weather forecasters and other staff at the office are also undergoing training.
We have about 12 forecasters on the bench, and they are right now undergoing pre-season preparations to the cyclone season, and that's reviewing the procedures, reviewing what's required normally during in-house operations.
Memories of the last 2 floods and Cyclone Evan are still fresh in the minds of those in the Western Division. However, the Commissioner's Office is now determined to lessen the effects if similar events does happen.
That deals with disaster management. They are going through settlements and villages in the Western Division on training. Disaster, it's community-based disaster risk management.
Cyclone season in Fiji is from November to April. Ritika Pratap, FBC News.
In the news ahead, encouraging large-scale farming in Laos.
Isambol binaka, nadang go wadi soni dalai, nama kiu mani wasini ngono borota kina lali ne kabi, mai na tolu kina bitu, ena moni dingina por rombuka, ena Bula FM, na bandu ena serre.
Bula, I'm Wame. Join me every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on The Center Show with classic hits from the 70s as well as the 80s right here on Gold FM.
Welcome back to FBC News. Next Gen Films Production Fiji Limited yesterday received its film tax rebate from government for the 2 movies tabled 21 and 3G. Next Gen Films Fiji Limited producer Vikram Rakhani received a cheque of over $2.5 million. Ranjini says they are working towards producing more movies here in the country. There's so much potential for farmers in Dia Dia Island in the Lao province. to go commercial. However, no one seems interested. Apisola Medaka was in there recently and tells us that work has begun in trying to change the mindsets of farmers to allow them to capitalize on their resources.
Getting farmers to plant on a larger scale isn't difficult. In fact, it's been done before. However, because of inconsistent shipping services, farmers have lost interest.
We face a few difficulties in trying to sell our produce to outside markets. Our first problem is shipping. It only comes once a month and sometimes it does not come. Today, we only plant for consumption.
Amatwindalay Banganra says it would be difficult for people on the Dia and nearby islands to plant on a bigger scale if they don't have the manpower.
We do not have machines to help us move into commercial farming. At the moment, farmers in Vithia have no intention to go commercial.
Twindalay Banganra says they have started visiting villages on the island to encourage them to get back into farming.
As our island are now on organic farming, we have urged them to plant in big scale, as we believe there will be a breakthrough for organic produce locally and abroad.
The Dia District Representative to the Lao Provincial Council, Epeli Lalingawoka, has confirmed not one single farmer on the island is using fertilizer, as all have turned to organic farming. Apisola Medaka, FBC News.
In sports news ahead, rugby league youths await overseas prospects.
नमस्ते दोस्तों, मिर्ची रफ्तार से मैं अश्निल सिंह। शामिल हो जाइए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे फ्रॉम 3 to 7 PM।
Nimbula, methango nimilote na isoro tumboa. Nama kia umena rua kina ona na via kavi moniti kina whakarombuka. Rongo mena via sama kina viva ka barota kini ndreko malolo. Ena Radio Fiji 1 na wongani pia niano. Ngai nama kia kina.
The Fairbrother Sullivan Trophy remains in Suva for another week. But it wasn't easy at the ANZ Stadium today as Vatukola made it a worthy challenge to go down fighting 32-20. It was 5 tries for Suva to Vatukola's 3. Scoring for the Capitals was a double to Sunia Kumbu and 1 each from Captain James Brown, Nadhani Wakaya and Joe Brown. The match belonged to Vatukola, but the trophy remains with Suva as Neita Siri is next to challenge. The Bar Rugby team will get the chance to break into major union status. The side upset Lakandrove 22-14 in the B Division final at Churchill Park in Lautoka today. Having won the final, Ba will take on Madhuwata in the promotion-relegation match. Rugby League's Full Blood project is getting a step closer to promoting the talent of 30 local players to the world. Trials were held at the Cathedral Secondary School grounds in Suva, and the organisers couldn't have asked for stronger performances from the players. With most of the work done, it's now up to a group of volunteers to make it all happen for these youths. Elena McDonald reports.
Hard-hitting, proper execution of plays, and simply pure talent. That's what this lot needed to identify today and show to the rest of the world.
We're going to take this now to the professional clubs around the world and schools to see if we can create some links to expose this talent.
With trials over, it's now a matter of waiting and keeping their fingers crossed for that call to play overseas.
In a team sport, it's a team effort, and with that, it's really encouraging to see them getting the information in and delivering the goods needed. You know?
The Full Blood project is expected to do just that.
What we'll do now is we'll send this off to the UK, we'll get all the videos cut up, and I reckon we'll be getting some feedback. We want to time it with the World Cup in the UK, so possibly we're thinking the beginning of December.
There's also hope feedback will be forthcoming, especially with Rugby League's biggest event set to begin next month. The T-shirt says it all. While Fijians are looking to play league overseas, There's also some hope international teams will be enticed to play on our shores. Elena McDonald, FBC Sports.
Melbourne Storm officials are confident winger Sisa Wanga has avoided serious injury from Friday night's NRL loss to South Sydney. Wanga landed on his head after having his legs taken out from under him by opposite Dylan Farrell as he went up to take a kick late in Melbourne's 2010 loss to the Rabbitohs. The Vodafone Fiji Bati squad member has been cleared of any fractures in CT scans taken late Friday night. Cloud and rain was the order of the day for Suva, Lambasa and Savu today. Other major centres were fine. Lambasa, Lautoka and Ba share the lead on our temperature chart tonight with a warm 33 degrees at 4 this afternoon. Suva and Savu were the coolest on 28 degrees. Tomorrow's weather is predicted to be much of the same as it was today. Looking beyond the weekend, fine apart from brief showers over the interior and the eastern parts of the larger islands. Southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough seas. And that was your news for tonight. But before we go, the headlines again. We're doing just fine without the Pacific Islands Forum, says Fijian Prime Minister. Tapu Group of companies takes over 16 mobile-owned service stations. And Kava ban for all Methodist church members. To the poll question now. And we ask, should the new Australian government engage with Fiji quickly? www.fbc.com.fj is the website to visit to take part in our weekly poll. Remember also to send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj. I will see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Hopefully the Springboks upset the All Blacks. Good evening.
जहाँ हो प्यार का बसेरा और रिश्तों की खुशबू, वो है आपका अपना घर संसार. Join me on Ghar Sansar, Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. only on Radio Fiji 2.
Hope you're enjoying the music right now on Gold FM. Only the classic hits, especially if you're spending your time at home or around the office. I certainly hope you're taking it easy and enjoying the music coming your way. Well, I got a whole lot more to keep you moving and to keep you going right up until you reach knock-off time. I'm Kara. Join me every weekday from 2 to 7 on The Ride, only on Gold FM.